So last time we recorded, we were through 2 days of Master Tournament play. Our picks were holding up as Spieth and Thomas looked like they were in the hunt. There wasn't really much blowing up in terms of like who was at the top of the leaderboard. Justin Rose, I think, was still leading the whole tournament. And then Hideki Matsuyama decided, you know what? I'm Tiger Woods today on Saturday, and crushed that entire day and put himself to 11 under. And that was all it took to win the Masters. He just showed up and golfed a normal last round, went even for the day, or actually went one over for the day on Sunday. The only one that really had a chance at one point was Xander Schauffele. He came in and he would have been 10 under for the day if he didn't triple bogey on 15. Absolutely murdered his round. I feel really bad for that kid because he had such a great round and just butchered it with one shot that went in the water and had a tough hole, put him out of contention. Shout out to Will Zalatoris. I didn't think that kid had a chance at the beginning. He was near the top. I'm like, he'll be cool, but he's an amateur. He'll find a way to blow it. Guy ended up finishing second in his first career Masters. So that was cool. He was 9 under, only one stroke back of the lead when all was said and done. But shout out to Hideki Matsuyama, becoming the first Japanese man to ever win a major tournament. So good for you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done by him. I'm sure he's going to be an absolute legend now when he goes back to Japan. And that makes both the LPGA and the PGA Tour now won by Japanese within the same year, right? Which is amazing.
Crazy. Good
to
for them.
See the game, the whole, yeah, exactly. But no, man, it was tough to see Xander put that one in the water, especially when Matsuyama put the whole previous. He put his last ball in the water there too, right?
Yeah.
And he just unfortunately though, you'd rather do that on a par 5 than a par 3, and you saw him go from what was easily a birdie to a triple bogey, and just took him right out.
It lost him the tournament when it all came down to it.
Absolutely.
You take 3 strokes, even if he pars that one, you take 3 strokes off of what his score is. He finished 7 under. 10 under puts him tied for the lead. So you're forcing Matsuyama to make that putt instead of just kind of putting it close so he can guarantee the win. It's tough. I feel bad. Sorry, Xander. Tough break.
Yeah, he's always been there too, right? Even when Tiger won, he was second, tied for second with DJ and Rahm, I think it was. He's in that mix, right? So I don't think this is the last time you'll see him, but it's definitely that was a winnable day, especially because you saw so many players either drop off or, like you said, Matsuyama shot one over.
He was okay. He didn't show up and do anything great.
I feel bad for Rahm as well because he shot 6 under in the day and just
shot a 66 on the day. The poor guy who did nothing for 3 days, even for the tournament, just shows up and finishes 6 under because he was unbelievable on Sunday. Where was this any other day? You could have been half of this and you would have won.
Right, but we saw Justin Rose go 7 under and finish 5 under for the tournament, so he actually shot worse.
Yeah,
after his day one, right?
It's
a totally different game right there.
It was so much fun. It was so tight for the entire tournament. The whole leaderboard, you had no idea. There was a lot of the time I thought Spieth could make a comeback just because he was right there the entire weekend. And then he had a terrible 3 holes to start the final day, and that just kind of put him out of contention. And he still finished tied for 3rd. It was a crazy tournament. Anyone could have taken it at any point in time. But shout out to Hideki Matsuyama for doing it. Hell of a tournament. Good run. Congratulations. On to hockey, because today was supposed to be a big day. It was not a big day. It was supposed to be a big day because today is trade deadline.
I don't think today was a big day. I think today was a lot of...
No, there's 13 trades.
There was a lot of moves. That's a lot of moves for a COVID
for the COVID thing, year. But in terms of overall trade deadline days, this one kind of sucked. Nothing really happened. So it's whatever. We did it. Here we are. We have a few moves to talk about. The Leafs went out and made moves before the trade deadline day even happened. They went out and they picked up Nick Foligno and Stefan Noesen from the Blue Jackets and Sharks, respectively, for a 1st and 2 fourths. Now, I've already said online a few times on Twitter and all that, but I really like the acquisition. I think Nick Foligno is the type of player you're looking to bring in Toronto, and I think he's going to help this team. I don't know if he's going to help him win a cup, but he's going to help this team do something. I don't know if giving up a 1st was worth it, personally, especially when you see what Taylor Hall went for. A 1st for Nick Foligno, who's realistically just a gritty – at this point, he's a 3rd-line center on this team, and you gave up a 1st for him. I know they had to retain a total of 75% between two teams in order to do it, and that's probably why you have to give up more. But I don't see that as much as an excuse, considering Buffalo's retaining 50% on Taylor Hall for no first-round picks going the other way. That's the only thing that hurts.
It's definitely hurtful, but I just feel like because the Leafs made the move earlier, you can't really. It's hard to compare the two because it almost felt like Buffalo maybe fell back into a corner and felt like this was the best deal for them.
Yeah.
Right? Was to get something for Taylor Hall where they were about to get nothing, and at one point they thought they had the golden ticket, which maybe wasn't there, right? And they might have asked so much, and then all of a sudden it was like, okay, all we have is Boston left, and this is going to be the best deal for us. We said it might be a first, but I'm not really surprised.
They wanted a first. They came out and said the price for Taylor Hall is a first and a top prospect, and they got neither of those two things.
But you know what Taylor Hall didn't say, though, is that he was willing, until after the trade, obviously, but he wasn't saying that he was willing to re-sign to whatever team they sent him to. And that was where the worry is. Right?
Absolutely.
So I get it, though, but for the Leafs, unfortunately, also come with this weird price tag of being the Toronto Maple Leafs. You have to pay a little more because you just have to, right? Mm-hmm. You came with that Toronto attitude of we want to make a trade, and for some reason a lot of teams hate that. Columbus doesn't like that, right? It's a team that you kind of got history with.
Yeah.
So trading for somebody that's especially their captain, which now it kind of changes the whole identity of that team.
They were really respectful about it too. They went to Nick and they were like, "Hey, this is what we're thinking. Like, let us know what your thoughts are." Blah, blah, blah. And like, they actually involved him in the trade process, and he give him credit. This kid is excited, or this man, he's not a kid. This man is excited to come to Toronto, and like he wants to be here and he wants to win here, and he's already talking to a bunch of the guys, and like this is a guy that wants to be in Toronto. Now, he doesn't want to bring his family here. Understandably, we're a nightmare as a province, but the city's good, team's cool. I think they're going to be on a good run, and I think Nick Foligno probably helps that. Stefan Nosen's a nice piece too. I don't hate that.
But he brings leadership. He brings a real versatile, dude, if you told me right now, hey, I'm going to throw him on line 1, hey, I'm going to throw him on line 2, line 3, line 4, I'd believe you at any single point. If you said I'm going to put him in center or I'm going to put him on the wing, I'd believe you at any point there too. Like, he has versatility in this team. And they've always said bottom 6 grit has been something that has scared Leafs. Yeah. And that's something that they've never been able to compete with. And now you have a guy who's capable of going down there and doing it alongside, a Wayne Simmons if you need to, right? Yeah. If he's part of that. But even still, if he gets moved up to that top 6, he keeps up with any of those guys. So I think it's a good trade. It's a tough price tag, like you said, with the first. But you know what? We've said this year's first, it's 25 to 31.
Yeah.
It could be in that price range. And then what are you getting? You still kept all of your core young players.
They're currently in they're currently in the mix for that President's Trophy. So realistically, the pick is probably somewhere between 28 and 31. There's no 32nd pick I found out this year because Seattle's coming in, but Arizona doesn't have a pick. So that's kind of cool. But 28 to 31 is probably the pick. So like you said, you don't give up a core player. So you give up this guy who's bottom tier first round. So it's not that big a deal, I guess. Just seems like a heavy price tag to pay. And like, in all honesty, I haven't been the biggest Nick Foligno fan for his entire career. I just think he does a lot of dumb shit. And he did it a lot against Toronto. Like, he was good defensively, but then he just pulled, like, that penalty he took against Morgan Riley in overtime in game 4, I believe it was, that ended up winning it for the Leafs. That was just boneheaded. Like, you didn't need to do something that stupid. And, like, that's kind of what I'm looking at when I see Nick Foligno, and I just have that in me. Maybe I'll just get over it because he's a Leaf now. But, like, I've just never been a huge fan. So that's why.
They still won that series.
Yep. He was a big part of that series. He was a little part of that series. He wasn't the main contributor, but he was there. And he did a good job defensively. And I think that's what the Leafs need, is they need a defensive-minded forward that can just be supportive and be on your top 9 forwards. I don't think he's going to drop down to the 4th. But, that was their biggest move of the day. But then, shockingly, they came out like 20 minutes later, and they're like, we've acquired David Rittich from the Calgary Flames for a 3rd-round pick. And I saw a lot of people like, bye, Freddie. I'm like, no, that's not at all what this means. This means that Freddie's probably done until at least the playoffs, and you need somebody that can just help Jack stay healthy. And that's exactly what it was, because obviously they didn't trade Freddie today, which I didn't expect in the slightest. And it's an interesting move, given the fact that David Rittich isn't very good. And he's a glorified backup that has had great games against Toronto, and I think it got him a new home.
I think what's good though is that he's gone on stretches even in playoff runs, and that's kind of what you might be thinking right now is you need a goalie who can go on a bit of a stretch, and especially with Freddie, there is literally no news about Freddie, and in this case, no news is not good news because why is there no answer?
You want to know what's wrong?
Why is there no answer on his health, on his status? Like everybody just kind of keeps looking the other way, and that's obviously really concerning.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So you need a bit of a goalie like. Jack Campbell's got an absolute run, but I asked you last time, like, if Jack Campbell's your goalie, do you think that he's going to be able to be that guy? And I'm not saying David Rittich has to be, but for at least
he would have to support
games, but they both have to support each other. And if they can go into this mindset that like playoffs is not a one goalie system anymore.
No, you need.
So you go on a couple runs and a couple games.
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
And they're going to play well in front of both of them, I think. Like, you know what I mean? This just gives the Leafs confidence to play well in front of both Jack Campbell, as they've done all year, and David Rittich.
Yeah. Especially given Jack's injury history this year and the fact that he really hasn't been healthy outside of like this week, the last week and a half maybe. Mm-hmm. You need that guy because it's just what happens if Jack gets hurt in game one and you're stuck with Michael Hutchinson the whole way because Freddie's not back yet. Right. Like I like Michael Hutchinson. I think he's a good fourth string guy and he's great in a dire emergency in the regular season. But if you have to lean on Michael Hutchinson to win you a series against any team, let alone like once you get past the first two rounds, you're in trouble real quick. So, I mean, David Rittich is a nice insurance piece that I don't hate. Yes, a third-round pick is a little bit expensive, especially considering it's next year's third-round pick. But it's something you needed, I think, just in terms of, like, your goaltending health situation. And maybe he'll come up and have some of the games that he had against us because that's when he's been his best. Who knows?
Colorado also really showed that having Hutch in net
it's worrisome. It doesn't
be your kryptonite, right? Like, you don't know exactly. So I don't mind the third round for David Rittich. And honestly, I thought about this, and if I look at it, who I think the Leafs have a better chance of signing when it comes to the free agent market is David Rittich over Freddie Anderson.
Yeah. If you're committing to Jack Campbell as your starter next year, it's David Rittich as your backup at this point because you can't pay a backup $6 million.
No, and Jack Campbell is your starter at 150. And like you said, David Rittich he's shown moments that he's good. He had moments where he's terrible. So he's not going to demand a lot of money. And that's a place where you can't really afford to flex a lot of money in, right? You don't really want to right now, especially if you're going to have a Jack Campbell duo system, right?
Yeah.
Because Jack Campbell's 150, I think, or sorry, like
1.5. Yeah.
Yeah, 1.5 mil.
He's under 2 mil. I know that for sure.
It's a bargain right now, so take advantage of that.
If you're spending your money next year, it's on Zach Hyman. It's not on Freddie Anderson anymore. Like you could have argued with me before the season that it was Freddie over Hyman, but at this point, it's just like you've seen what Jack can do, and if Jack stays like this the rest of the year, there's no reason to keep him to not keep him as your starting goaltender. And as of next year, there's just no point in having Freddie around if he's going to demand that much money. So unless you get him on some wicked deal, you're putting your money at Zach Hyman and you're just signing a backup goalie. And if that's Rittich, great. I don't think it is because even he was making way too much money, and I don't think he'll take a decrease on that. But it now gives you a second option as opposed to like, you know what, Freddie, we don't need to keep you, so either take less money or we'll see you later. Thanks for all you've done for us. It's tough, but it is what it is. Weren't done. They were kind of done making big moves, but they weren't done yet. They brought in Ben Hutton for, I believe it was a 5th round pick. Could be wrong on that, but I think it was. Ben Hutton, obviously not a big piece. Like he's not going to come in and be on the top pair of this team. He'll probably be the 7th D-man, but seems like a good guy. He looks like a lot of fun in the locker room. I've seen some videos of him off the ice, and he seems like fun. Could fit well with the team. And he's just a good, solid piece to have as your 7th D-man, so you don't have to worry about ever using Martin Marincin ever again. And that is just the icing on the cake here because I don't ever want to see that man play a playoff game for this team ever again. So, yeah, Ben Hutton sitting in the press box, and he'll just be there until we need him. Hope maybe. We won't need him. But
was Ben Hutton the guy that Taylor Hall ran over behind the net?
That sounds familiar.
I think that Taylor Hall, like, that was the guy. That's the only thing I know about Ben Hutton. So I got nothing to say.
I saw a video of him today beating the hell out of someone on the Blues. I don't even know who it was, but he just beat the wheels off of somebody.
The only thing I will say is it's not a pick for this year's draft. It's a pick for next year's draft. So, not that makes it, a fifth rounder.
Philip Larson was the guy he hit.
Okay, never mind then.
So we're good.
So I don't even know Ben Hutton. I feel like I have very minimal knowledge of Ben Hutton.
I know he played for Vancouver. I know he did a lip sync thing to Barbie Girl. I've seen that video 3 times a day. It's actually quite priceless if you want to look it up. It's funny. And that's about all I know about Ben Hutton. He played on the Ducks before we got him. Going to be a decent 7th D man because we're not going to need to play him. And then finally, everyone's least notable Russian on the team, Alex Barabanov, got shipped out for Antti Suomela. All this is a contract thing. They needed to get a contract out. Suomela won't take up a contract, I don't think. So Barabanov had to be the guy. Now, the good news there is that Nick Robertson is playing tonight because of this move. And I am excited. This kid, he hasn't had a chance since, the first week when, it was guaranteed that he had a spot on the team, and they gave him a chance, and he looked great, and then he blew out his knee. So he kind of lost his chance. And now Nylander's out, and you lose Barabanov because you had to. So it gives this opportunity to Nick Robertson, and I hope he takes it and sprints out the door with it because this kid deserves it. That's about it.
He definitely fits the team culture.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's an upgrade from what Barabanov was bringing from the taxi squad. So
absolutely,
I think that he's shown that he has the speed to do it. I think a lot of his game is utilizing that speed, but he needs to not overthink it.
Yeah.
It's tough jumping in at this point and trying to make an impact and enforcing that. But you know what? I've always kind of found that his game is best, and he gets his best opportunities when he's just kind of not thinking and letting the game come to him.
Yep.
Right. We've seen him. We've seen Galchenyuk this year kind of just let the game come to him and be able to go across a lot of lines from the Leafs. And now people aren't saying what a bust he is. They're saying, okay, this is better than what we thought he was going to be.
What a steal this has been.
Exactly. He went from a 3rd overall or 2nd overall bust, whatever he was, and then now is showing people, 3rd overall, and now he's showing people that he's not too bad, and that he's able to fit in the system. He's got some skill because he's letting it come naturally to him, and that's what fits in the system. I think that that's going to work as well for Nick Robertson, and not to just try to, make the impact. So I think we saw that a little bit in the bubble last year, a little bit in the playoffs, was he was just kind of racing all over. Yeah. And it's good to feel like you're everywhere, but then you kind of feel like you're nowhere at the same time. Yeah. Right? If you're everywhere, you're kind of nowhere at the same time.
You're kind of not doing much, you're just flying around everywhere. It's like the Ilya Mikheyev thing. You're everywhere, but what are you doing? You're just there.
Exactly. You're there, but you're not really doing anything while you're there. So
on Alex Galchenyuk a little bit more. Him coming out and doing what he's done so far has kind of saved Alex Kerfoot his job on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Because realistically, if you didn't have Alex Galchenyuk, you need that supporting piece in your top 6. And they would have had to go out and make a move that involved Kerfoot just for price tag reasons, just to get somebody in here, unless they pulled some ridiculous stuff with the cap. But it likely would have been Kerfoot going out. But because Galchenyuk came in and did what he did, Kerfoot's still here. And they didn't lose anybody off the roster, and I think they are better off for it. He fits in perfectly. He's gritty on that line. He's everywhere. He's doing what he needs to do. He's making good moves with the puck. His passing's been great. He's just great supporting piece on both those top 2 lines. So it's just shout out to that kid for coming in and changing everyone's perception of him, basically. It's just incredible what he's been able to do.
Yeah, love it. Real team guy now, it seems. Where before he just felt like
seemed like
a bit of an outcast.
A little bit.
Yeah, bit of a lone wolf out there, and now
they like him.
He's here, yeah. No, cool. we like him too, You like to see it. For the price tag, my goodness.
Yep. On to the rest of the league. All the trades that went around today. First one that came up was at midnight. So this is, we already mentioned it. We brought it up. Taylor Hall went to Boston, along with Curtis Lazar, for a second and Anders Bjork, and Buffalo retained 50%. So, we saw all these deals that went down involving firsts, and, there's a chance that, they wanted a first-round pick and a top prospect. Was their price tag when it came out that Taylor Hall was getting traded. Then the Taylor Hall deal drops at 11, 12, 13, something like that. And they got neither of those two things. They wanted both, and they got neither. They got a second and Anders Bjork, who's not a top prospect. He's kind of just a supporting piece. And not only that, they threw in Curtis Lazar, and they retained 50% of the salary. He didn't get anything that you wanted, and you gave up more to do it. Like, what a brutal deal for Buffalo. If that's what, like, your asking price was a first, and you got nothing. You get nothing. Shout out to Boston for fleecing the Sabres for this, even if Taylor Hall's not good. Because, like, you took the risk on the biggest fish on the market. You gave up a second and a nobody for him. You ended up getting a nobody back in the deal in Curtis Lazar, who can fill in Bjork's spot anyways, and they're paying him half his price.
They also play Buffalo 5 more times before the season's over.
So Taylor Hall's guaranteed 10 to 15 more goals.
He's going to get more than 2 goals in the season. And the great thing is now he's either – because they've actually separated that top line of Pasta, Bergeron, and Marchand, and he could realistically fit in either one of those.
Yep.
You know, if you throw him alongside Pasta, that would be absolutely amazing. With his vision on the ice and Pasta's finishing ability, that's unruly. Boston just put themselves back into being a bit of like a little
more of a contender than they were yesterday.
Right. They also made some minor defensive moves that I think helped, because before they were just riddled with injury, and that was kind of getting to them. They just kept getting, McAvoy being out, and he's supposed to be the guy now since Krug and Chara both left within the same year. Right.
I still think they're the 4th best team in that division. I don't think they're that good, but bringing in Taylor Hall makes you a little bit deeper offensively, and that's been their issue all year, is that they have 0 depth, and they said that coming in. They don't have anyone outside of that first line. They had to separate that first line to give them some sort of scoring depth. Now I think this gives you 2 solid lines that can score at will, as long as Taylor Hall comes in and is what Taylor Hall should be and not what Taylor Hall has been for 2 years. Who knows? It's an interesting.
I disagree with you. I think they're like the 2nd best team in that division.
They're not. Who are they better than?
And they're better than the Islanders.
No.
Yeah, they could be.
The Islanders are better defensively.
In a series?
I don't
know. No, in a series, though, it doesn't matter. The Islanders are not going to win 2-1 games against Boston, because Boston's just going to beat the crap out of them and win 3-2. Trust me.
Didn't Boston just lose to them 8-1?
Okay, this is a different team is what I'm saying.
With one guy?
Did you see the defensive line?
Like,
no, I'm pretty sure it was
Washington.
Washington. They lost to Washington.
They lost to Washington 8-1?
They're
not better than Washington. I don't think they're better than the Islanders. After the
move
Pittsburgh made, I don't think they're better than Washington. I don't think they're better than Pittsburgh.
Not better than Pittsburgh.
As long as Casey DeSmith stays this hot.
No, yeah, that's
He's been one of the best goalies in the past month and a half. That's it.
That's so bad to rely on. That's like saying you're going to rely on Jack Campbell for the rest of the year, man.
They also have more depth. Arguably, like they have two of the top 100 players of all time on their center depth. Then they just added
Brad
Jeff
Marchand,
Carter.
Patrice Bergeron, David Pastrnak.
Yeah, I dare you to say any other name. There's nobody else that scares me. David.
When
Krejci,
Charlie McAvoy gets healthy, David Krejci is just a playoff machine. He's a playoff machine.
Right.
So they're going to make it to the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I get that they're going to make it to the playoffs. I just don't.
And then he's going to
fear them against any other team in that division.
Machine, Nick Ritchie just bullies guys. Tuukka Rask, when he gets back with Halak,
Tuukka Rask is the game changer. If Tuukka Rask can come back and play the way Tuukka Rask can, then they have a chance. He's never been good in the playoffs, and I don't see them doing any damage against these 3 other teams in the division.
If you get playoff Charlie Coyle.
Yep. Okay, Charlie Coyle's okay. He's not great.
Not the greatest.
He's nothing better than Jason Zucker, and Zucker's like a supporting piece in Pittsburgh. Like
Zucker's absolutely been.
He's Charlie Coyle. He's the same player. It's like there's no difference. And now they added Jeff Carter. They have what's his name there? Jake Gensel. They have Brian Ross. They have Chris Letang on the back end. Both their goalies are lights out right now because Barry Kapanen's like 3rd line on this team. They have Sid and Gino. Like they're deep.
They also have Evan Rodriguez, who got traded cut and then played. Yes, of course.
Brandon Tanev, when healthy, has been unbelievable for this team. But he's not. He's out right there. It's not that they're way better than people think they are.
Yeah. Okay. But I still think that Boston is once healthy too. They're playoff Boston.
Yeah, I don't fear one line. I'm sorry. And Taylor Hall makes them better. I don't think they have to beat 2 of these teams. And it's going to end up being Washington first And I don't think they can take Washington right now, especially after they brought in Anthony Mantha.
No, I think that they're going up. They're going to catch that third spot. Pittsburgh is going to have a tough time.
Okay, so then you got to play the Islanders and then Washington, which are the two best teams in the division, and I don't think they can hold the jock of either two of those teams, personally. I don't think they have it, even with the Taylor Hall move. It just doesn't.
If they see Washington, then I'm correct in saying that the second best team, and Washington would be the first team in that division. Like, I believe Washington is the best team. I don't understand the Jacob. I don't understand the newest trade by them, but I guess Anthony Mantha is going to bring more than two players will bring, plus a third. Like, that's a steal. Yeah. If you want to talk about getting hosed, that could be up for it.
It's a lot to give up. So they gave up Anthony Mantha to the Caps for Jacob Verano, Richard Panik. You said a first and a second?
If I'm not mistaken, first and third maybe.
Either way, two picks, one of them being a first.
First and a second. So first this year and a second next year, which is ludicrous
for just Anthony Mantha, and that's a lot to give up for Anthony Mantha. I think Anthony Mantha can be a game changer, and he showed that last year when he was healthy with Detroit. He was doing things on a team that has literally nobody else. So I think he's a good player, but that is a lot, including Jacob Verano, who's been pretty good for that team, and he's a surprise piece that's just done really well on that team. And then Richard Panik, who's been a good fourth liner for them. So you get shallower, I think, if you're the Caps, but I think you get more top heavy and better. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. One little tidbit of information that was kind of interesting that popped up. Henrik Lundqvist tweeted out the other day that his pipe dream goal this season was to play for the Washington Capitals when they got closer to the playoff run. And he was on track to do so, but unfortunately his latest test results said there's still inflammation around his heart, so he won't be able to come back this season. But really cool to see him come out and say there was a chance that he was going to play again this year. So it gives you hope that he might come back again next year. He might not be done, which I think you would like to see out of Henrik Lundqvist, just because I don't want to see him go out like that. I think it'd be way better if he can go out on a high.
Yeah, it's tough to not say that you're the one that's going out, to have something like injury or medical condition take you out, right? That's something you don't.
You never want to see that. But yeah, the Caps made an interesting move. It'll be interesting to see whether or not it helps them. I don't know at this point. I'm not really equipped to talk about it. I really don't know much about the Caps this season. They're doing well. That's all I know. They still have Alex Ovechkin. He's still
wow, you're admitting you're not equipped to talk about something. Incredible.
Yeah, I don't follow them. I don't really care about the Caps. I don't think they're actually that good anymore. But I think they're better than Boston. So, I would say the second biggest news trade of the weekend came from Tampa in the David Savard trade, because they were the first one to hit with something big. And for a while there had been rumored that David Savard was going somewhere, and everyone was trying to bolster the defense so they could play Tampa. And Tampa decided, you know what? No, we're just going to bolster our defense because they're cheating the system, and they've got Kucherov sitting there waiting for the playoffs to start, and he's just taking line rushes like he's playing the games, but he's not playing the games. He's just waiting, which is great for them because they have $9 million in cap space to work with. So now they get to sign guys like David Savard, and they gave up a first, third, and fourth to do it. I hate it. I hate every part of it. Tampa's way better. They're going to be good. I hate it. I don't even want to talk about it. That's all it is. Team's good. Great trade. Welcome. It's the scummiest move. I hate it. I know the Leafs are doing it with Freddie too, so I won't say much as a Leaf fan. But that's so scummy. You put the best player on your team because, yeah, we won a cup. We don't need him this year. If we lose, who cares? So you put him on the LTIR, and he comes back in the middle of the season and just waits. So frustrating. I hate it. But yeah, that team's going to be better.
I think that's using a lot of creativity is happening this year.
For sure.
This is the first year that we're starting to see. I think it's one of the first years we're starting to see the 3-team trade, right, where it has to go through another team in order for the cap to make sense. That's something used in the NHL a lot.
This year made it very clear that some moves have to be made on the CBA to change some things because it's getting a little ridiculous. And the hard cap might not be it anymore. You might need to go with some sort of luxury tax idea.
This is very NBA-esque.
Yeah, this is not pretty.
Hey, we have a deal, and then we need a team to chip in, and you get a pick out of it if you join in. That's crazy. So
I know we did it, but I still don't like it. I think it's kind of stupid.
You literally flushed Nick Foligno's money through 2 franchises, and then
so did they with Savard. But the thing is, they did that, and they have $9 million on the books that aren't getting counted against the cap because he's quote unquote hurt. Fuck off, hate them. So that was big. The least surprising news I think of the day came out of Calgary. Sam Bennett was finally traded to the Florida Panthers. Now, I say least surprising, but like I don't know if you really expected him to go anywhere. His cap hit kind of sucks. He's really not that good. But they got rid of him. He's going to the Panthers where he's going to probably succeed. I don't think he's going to play a big role in that team, but he's going to be in a team that's way better than Calgary, so good for him because Calgary fucking sucks. And they gave up a second and Emil Heineman. I don't know this Heineman guy, but they gave up these two pieces for him.
Like you don't personally know him?
I don't know. Don't even know him as a player. I could not tell you one single thing about him. So, cool. 2 pieces for Sam Bennett. I think it's a little. It's not terrible. It's what I expected him to go for, but yeah. Well, hopefully he can succeed. I think Sam Bennett's a kid that deserves a chance, and I think he's got one now. If he doesn't work out here, he's not going to work out anywhere.
It's interesting going to Florida too. I feel like Florida has a couple of hidden gems. Mm-hmm. You know, they've always kept Alexander Barkov really, really hidden from, you know, being talked about as one of the elite players in the league, man. He does things that some players just aren't able to do, and he does them so silently. Yeah. You know, and he's very strong on the puck altogether with his skating, and I love the way he plays. You know, Florida never gets enough credit because it's Florida. It's the little brother of the Tampa Florida, like it's you know, the Florida teams. It doesn't matter.
They're not even the best team in their own state.
No, and that's the tough part. But they have some real good players there, right? Like Keith Yandel too, man. That story
crazy
was heartbreaking at first, and now he is unreal.
I am not on board for the Alex Barkov as the most underrated player in the game. I think
it's the most underrated player.
No, but I know you're not, but many people have, and I'm not on board for it because he was. At one point, Alex Barkov was absolutely the most underrated player in the game. I don't think he's at that level anymore. He is at the point where people are rating him as a top 8 to top 6 to center in the league, and I think that's what he is.
Would you know who you think it is then?
I would say he's not even the most underrated player on his team because
who's the most underrated?
Jonathan Huberdeau to me is more underrated than what Barkov is.
In the league? In the league or in
yes,
the
in the league.
Okay.
I mean, there might be more around the league that I just can't think of right now, but I think Huberdeau is more underrated than Barkov on that team alone. I mean, it's just like, I think Barkov's great. I'm not sitting here saying Alex Barkov's not a good hockey player. He's incredible, but he's no longer underrated. People know what Alex Barkov is. It's not like we're just like, oh, it's just this guy in Florida. He's not that good. Like, no, people know about Alex Barkov now. It's not a thing.
Good. Yeah.
You can only be the most underrated player in the league for like 2 years. After that, it's just like, man, we've said it so many times. It's it. That's all it is.
Yeah.
We already mentioned a little bit. Jeff Carter went to Pittsburgh. I think that's a cool depth move. They gave up a 2022 third and a 2023 fourth. So, like, they are mortgaging distant future, which, cool. That's probably the best move for them.
I mean, you still have, 2 to 3 years of Gino, Crosby, so I get that still counts within their era. So you're still competing then, right? That's what you're saying with that. So
it's funny because I didn't see Jeff Carter as a piece being moved. I don't know about you.
I think it more just makes sense from a Pittsburgh style. Like they don't want to change
into their veteran group.
Much.
Like they don't need the young pieces. They're going for one more cup with the old guys.
You know what they do? They always bank on Sid turning it on right at the end of the year, and this is kind of perfect timing for him. And this is also going to be where he just decides to take over in a season, and now you're saying, hey, we're early round playoffs on that. So do it. And they got a good depth piece for sure, I think, without messing with that top. And, they feel like they have something there that they didn't need to mess with too much, right?
Yeah.
Jeff Carter is, a third and a fourth. It's not the worst. Deal. It's not a first or a second, right?
I like it.
We watched Blake Coleman and Barclay Goodrow go last year for first round picks, and now this year that didn't happen with Jeff Carter. And Taylor Hall didn't even go for a first.
No, it's crazy.
So,
I think it's a nice move for Pittsburgh. I think it's a good piece to bring in without giving up too much. I think that'll help them be a little more competitive. Honestly, I know we talked about it in how the ranks of those teams. It doesn't matter how you rank those 4 teams. They're 4 damn good teams, and they're going to kick the shit out of each other for 2 rounds.
Mm-hmm. You need to be prepared. It's like a Stanley Cup final in every round.
There's a good chance. there's a good chance that one of the Stanley Cup finalists comes out of that.
If you stood there and made a case for all of them, I'd nod and say, okay, for sure.
Yeah. Now,
I'm
not sitting here saying they're the best division. I still don't think they're really that great as a division because Buffalo, New Jersey still exist in there, and they are garbage. And Philly's been garbage. They just lost to Buffalo again. So, I mean, like, those are saying, like, oh, that division's so much better than everyone else. Like, no, the top of that division, really good. The bottom of that division is the worst bottom in the league. It's not close.
Buffalo's been hot. Been hot. Cruising.
Buffalo's Hawkins are playing Philly. Philly just can't figure out how to beat that team. It's crazy. If Buffalo played Philly every single game, they'd be a playoff team this year. It's nuts. Good for them. They also just lost everybody, so they're done. Yeah, I think that's it for big trades. Unless Vatanen, you want to throw in Vatanen?
Was he traded in there?
I don't really know. I didn't even know he.
I thought he was just claimed. No, he was claimed from the Devils. I thought, yeah. But one of the things was Florida addressed the Ekblad injury with bringing in Brandon Montour for a third from Buffalo. I think that was a little earlier on, which isn't bad. He's not obviously Aaron Ekblad by any stretch, but you needed some more depth.
You needed something.
Because that is your defensive captain by far. So they did something to at least address that.
That's good.
And they even picked up Nikita
Gusev? Oh, did they claim him?
Gusev, yeah, for $1 million. They signed him for $1 million, I think, for the rest of the year. So.
Right. That's not bad. Now,
Nikita Gusev.
The one thing I didn't really mention in the whole trade thing is Winnipeg, because they didn't do anything. They brought in Jordy Ben, and that's it.
Sixth.
And that's it. And this is a team that everyone's like, oh, they need to bring in defense because their defense sucks, and if they're going to make a run, they got to bring in defense. They brought in a seventh D-man, realistically. I love Jordy Ben as a person, but he's not that good. And he's going to be
always
a filler piece.
He's always a trade deadline piece,
He's a supporting guy. They didn't need
a
supporting guy. They needed a big name, and they didn't bring one in. They butchered it, I think. I think they were a competitive team, especially with Hellebuck and net, and they just butchered it. So
I think they're playing it really safe, knowing that they're going to get into the playoffs pretty much. Like, you're pretty well guaranteed in, and you know that you're kind of guaranteed at least. You're pretty much home. It's either your first or you're home or away against Edmonton right now.
You're in that second series. You're not getting up. Pretty confident in saying neither of those two teams are catching the Leafs this year. Just the way the schedule rolls out. Like, they need a miracle, I think. They're already 7 points back, if I'm not mistaken. They need a miracle in order to catch the Leafs. So I guess it makes sense that, like, you know what? We've committed to just not beating the Leafs this year. We'll just be what we are, and maybe we'll sneak through because Hellebuck's unbelievable, and he can just steal a series, and that's what they're hoping on. I think it's a weird process, but, hey, all the power to you. If that's what you want to do, good luck.
Teams made just like some weird trades too, man. Vancouver got rid of Gaudette for Highmore, which is weird. I think it's good. I thought Blackhawks were making some weird splashes. I think they were getting prospects and more picks, but like Gaudette
technically in the rebuild, which is
but they're still also technically competing. They're fifth with like 4 points out, so like it's not done, but they're just kind of relying on the same old. It's Patrick Kane or die.
Yeah, that's okay. The final bit of NHL news, Victor Mete, who's been up and down with the Canadiens all year and just like doesn't have a spot on that team, finally got placed on waivers after requesting a trade not that long ago. Finally got put on waivers and got claimed by Ottawa. I'm sorry, for starters, that's a tough spot to go right now. You went from a team that's definitely going to be in the playoffs to definitely not. But you know what? Ottawa is a good spot for him because they just dumped all their D-men, so he's definitely got a spot on their second pair. And I think they'll be really good in the future, so that's cool for Victor Mete. Hopefully things turn around for that kid. He's only 22, so he's got plenty of time to get back to where he should be, and I think Ottawa's a nice spot for him to be. Not a competitive spot this year, but they will be not too far from now.
He won't be in a commanding money position, but you won't be in a position where you can't afford to retain him for, a little more than whatever he might get, or a little more than what you want to pay him, but also fair enough that you can, still spend a little more money. Still do what Ottawa did this offseason, do it next year again, right? Yep. You're not competing. You're not trying to sign some big ticket names unless you go out and somehow bring in, like a Taylor Hall and company. Mm-hmm. But I doubt Ottawa is going to just splurge that way with an off season like this, a cap off season like this.
Yep. So yeah, that's pretty much it at the NHL. There's obviously a bunch of other little trades. I just don't feel like they made much of a difference to the playoff atmosphere. Vegas picked up a couple of little names here and there. They're already good enough. They didn't really need to do that anyways. But yeah, that's
Colorado picked up a name or two. Like
Colorado got Dubnyk. That's cool. I don't think it's really that big a deal.
And Carl Soderberg.
And yeah. There's like little names here and there, but they're just not as interesting as everything we talked about. And we can't talk about it all. We don't have that much time. Before we want to get to baseball, I just kind of want to talk about the NFL because we'll just throw in a little bits and pieces of information in here. First of all, the Patriots released Julian Edelman. Obviously, that hits near and dear to your heart because that's tough. He failed a physical, and that's why they had to release him. So apparently he's contemplating his future and whether or not he actually comes back to the NFL. That's tough. That's, like we just mentioned, that's not a way you want to go, especially if you're Julian Edelman. That's tough.
If he comes back, he's going to go to Tampa. I'm going to call it now.
I don't know, because Tampa signed, who was it there? Who's the back? Oh, Gio Bernard. Tampa just signed Gio Bernard out of Tampa Bay, which doesn't make a huge deal, but they've already got so many pieces in there. They don't have much more room for old guys that are past their prime.
They didn't sign AB again, I don't think. So,
no? Well, he
doesn't have a spot there. Right. So even still, that's what I'm saying. If
I'm making the decision between Antonio Brown and Julian Edelman, I think I'm going back to Antonio Brown.
Right.
Personally.
I think I would be as well. But
especially if Julian Edelman's failing physicals.
It's sad to see that for sure.
That sucks.
And
that's the worst.
I hope that's not the end of it. And I'm sure that even though he's released now, it's not on ill terms and he understands the situation and hopefully they can bring him back, eventually. If he wants to come back and play, I'm sure there's always going to be a spot for him under Belichick's system, under Kraft's team. So
yeah. That's tough. I would be remiss if we didn't mention this. There was a shooting in Minnesota. I don't know much about the situation. I hadn't heard about it until it kind of got brought into the sports world. But as a result, the Twins, Wild, and Timberwolves all canceled their games today. Big respect for that because it just puts a little more light on the issue. Because honestly, I wouldn't have probably heard about it if it wasn't for these three teams. And I know that's a little ignorant to say. But it's just kind of what my life is I follow sports a lot closer. And when they bring stuff to light, I notice it a little bit more. So it's good on the three of them to just bringing light to a situation that I wouldn't have heard about. Sorry. I'm not going to get into the situation. I don't know enough about it. I haven't done my research on it, but yeah, good for them. That's a classy move out of three organizations that just, I don't know, just thought I'd bring it up. I felt remiss if we didn't. On to baseball, because that's where we're good at.
Where we're good at.
We're not gonna get to the Jays just yet, because I do want to bring up that other thing first. If you watched the Braves and Phillies game yesterday, I believe it was, or was it the day before?
2 days before.
2 days? So 2 days ago, there was a game between the Phillies and the Braves that the Phillies ended up winning. Now, that's not the story. The story wasn't the game. The story was there was a play in near the end of the game, I believe it was, where I don't remember who it was, slid into home, and their foot skipped over home plate, and they should have been out. He was ruled safe. They took it to review and still ruled him safe, and the Braves ended up losing by 1. Now, that's a bad call. I don't really have any other way to put it. The only thing for me is that, home plate is really hard to slide across. If that's a regular base, you're bouncing up and hitting the base and popping up, so it's not that big a deal. So, I think the rule is fair. I don't think you should have to fucking slide your foot along the ground. But by the rule, he's out. And I don't know how you take that to video review and miss that.
There were 4 angles that showed him out. There was one angle that maybe showed him safe, and because you're looking at it from head on, his toe looks like it comes down, and the perception you can't judge depth. But every other angle shows that it's not there.
When 4 out of 5 are showing you that he didn't touch the plate, I would probably trust those 4. No,
it's conclusive evidence that he didn't touch the plate. It really sucks to see for sure. Yeah, it sucks to see.
Especially because they lost by 1.
Yeah, you always go to don't leave it in the judges' hands, don't leave it in the umpire's hands. But at the same time, you can't predict that, and that's ridiculous. That's
brutal.
They need to go back to school. They need to go back to their umpiring courses, and that's it. We need to freshen up. We need to get the replacement refs here from the NFL all those years ago. Put them as the umps.
We don't want them. They were bad. Like,
you know
honestly,
what? Then you put in the automated system. See how it works. See how well these players go. Because apparently the replay with the umps is not working. So that's it. You just have an automated strike zone.
It's not good. I don't know what the fix to this is, but there is an issue with umpiring, it seems, this year in general. Like, even watching the Jays game against the Angels there, what was that, game 3 of the series where they won 15-2? How are you? There was a play in the second inning where Jonathan Davis is going from first to second and technically interfered with Jose Iglesias as he was coming off the bag.
He does.
Definitely does, but he still touches the base, so I guess by rule that was fine. But there was like a 25-minute review of this play because it was just – I played the game for a long time, and I had no idea what to call it because, like, technically Iglesias was off the bag by rule, but technically JD interfered with him, but technically he could still reach the bag. And I don't know where
technically one more time.
Well, like, I don't know what else to call it. Like, technically this was all true, but like,
man,
I don't know if that's technically. Like, I think if I'm the umpire in that play, for starters, the neighborhood rule should come back. I missed that because Iglesias had the ball and like just stepped off the bag. So like, yes, JD's safe, but he did interfere with him. So like, in theory, he should be out. Or Jano should be out? I'm not really sure.
I think you can see intent in it. Mm-hmm. And then I don't know what isn't the rule is at the base.
You have to be able to touch the base. And he clearly touched the base. He slid horizontal.
I think what the thing is, though, is that when he goes to touch the second bag and he doesn't have control of the ball there, or he misses the bag there, right? So that's already that he's safe. Like, technically, Jonathan Davis is safe, but I think you give him the out of he's going to get it to first.
Right.
But there's the thing as well, he never has control of the ball.
Right. Like, he never had – well, this is the other thing for me is, like, if he's already safe, that means he's not even on the bag, and he gets interfered with.
The only thing that saved Jonathan Davis is that Iglesias never had control of the ball.
Yeah.
Like, he's never in control of it. And I think if he does have it, and even though he doesn't get the out at second, like, he doesn't touch the bag, I think that Jonathan Davis showing that he has intent to slide. Like, there's evident intent there. You know, he does not take a path to the bag, especially with him being so far off the bag. But, like, that's obvious. You're going to make it.
He could reach the bag. So I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
So I think that it's –
yes,
but that's one of those –
right? I don't know.
That's one of those plays, though, that as an umpire, you're now letting that rope go a little bit longer. You know, that's one of those, which side of the line are you going to be on? And now you just kind of let that rope go a little bit longer for the playoffs.
It's such a judgment call. And that was the judgment they made. I loved it because I'm wearing this logo on my chest that says Go Blue Jays. Not the Angels logo, because I saw Angels fans that were pissed in that game. And, like, they were angry at the home plate ump because they thought that their guys weren't getting calls. Our guys were not getting calls either, but they weren't afraid to swing once they realized that the zone's huge. Like, Rowdy struck out early in the game on 5 balls. It was a 3-2 count. The guy had thrown 5 balls. I'm like, okay, so whatever. There's a couple other ones that were garbage. Then there were a couple others for the Angels that were really bad too. Rendon had one low and away that should have been called a ball, and he got called a strike. But, like, the umps were just evenly bad. And I think that's one thing that needs to get fixed. Like, it's one thing to be bad, but at least be consistent in your calls. And, like, they weren't. They were just all over the place for both teams, and you just really had no idea. And then you top it off with that play at second to first, whatever you want to call it. And then the next inning, forget who it was. I think it was Walsh gets thrown out, and they take it to review, and it was a quick review. And Joe Madden ended up getting thrown out because he was just pissed off and sick of it. And, like, you just watch all this happen. And you need to do something about the umps at some point, I think. That's just kind of yuck. I don't like it. Yeah, so that was game 3. Game 4 got delayed.
Never happened.
Nope. It got postponed.
Going back to the first game, like the last game we were talking about there.
Oh, you're disconnected. Hold on. Speak.
I still see you.
Okay, your mic was just like going.
Oh, no, I still see you. Okay. Anyways. But no, when I was watching the highlights of it, man, they were just hitting through the lineup. It wasn't like they were getting home run after home run after home run. Like,
They didn't have a home run. They didn't have a home run that game.
Hit, and it was great to see that everybody was getting involved. Bo looked phenomenal. He looked like Bo that you like to see.
Vlad looked great. Rich looked great.
They were seeing the ball, and that's what they want. They want to be able to swing freely.
Everyone that isn't named after a high school party looked fantastic. Obviously, Rowdy didn't look great, but he's struggling right now, and we'll give him a chance to figure it out. It's a tough time for a guy that knows how to hit.
But, dude, he has got to hurry it up because when Springer comes back, you're not going to have a spot on this team. When they make a trade, because they probably will make a trade unless these I see also here that you have two other players on this team who we didn't really consider beforehand, but if they start making more of a move, then Rowdy's line is going to be really short,
You have two guys in Josh Palacios and Santiago Espinal that are incredible. They're both incredible ball players. Unfortunately, they don't have a spot in this team. Santiago just got sent back down today because Lourdes came off the IL. And the only other option was Joe Panic. And Joe Panic he's the only veteran presence you have. And he seems to get along really well with the guys. So he's not someone you're going to send down.
He also just hits.
Yeah,
Joe Panic just
he's
hits.
done a great job.
He's like the single guy.
He does it all.
He's
and unfortunately for Santiago, there's just no spot for him right now because the team is so good around him. Josh Palacios, similar situation. I think he could be a great fourth outfielder on this team. Unfortunately, when Springer comes back, there's no spot for him because Grichuk is hitting so well that he just doesn't have a spot. And you're not going to send down Grichuk. You're not going to send down Teoscar. You're not going to send down Lourdes. So, unfortunately, the only option is you have to send down Palacios when Springer comes back. And it sucks because Palacios went 4 for 4 in that game.
But I could also see Jonathan Davis being expendable now.
Yeah.
And that's something.
I think
as well as Rowdy, though, I think that both of them are now absolutely expendable because even if you have a guy who's an outfielder, like realistically, I would also like to see Lourdes maybe come back into the field for a couple of games to keep that. I know you don't really want to see it, but he was a shortstop, right?
Yeah,
he was a shortstop.
Maybe give him a chance at short. I wouldn't want to give him a chance.
If you get it big enough, no, I'd never show him at second. But you don't need to, right? Yeah, you don't need to. You can kind of.
They tried him at first once. I think that would be interesting because I think the only reason that Rowdy is just guaranteed a spot on this team right now
because he needs to play first base.
He's the only reason that Vlad can get a rest right now. It's like nobody else can play first. Maybe Cavan, but that's a risk and a half. Like the only
and you don't want to though.
No,
you don't want to put Cavan all the way across the diamond after putting
the
him.
only solid option you have is Rowdy. It sucks, but it's the only option to give Vlad a day off here and there to even put him at the DH spot because he's the only guy that plays first.
It would have been nice maybe to teach like Alejandro Kirk a little bit about first base if you were able in the offseason to bring in another catcher, because they swirled around some catching names. And as we kind of said, like Reese is still there, but Reese is not good with the bat, right? If you had somebody that was there where Jano was even your second, then you can kind of look at Kirk and say, hey, buddy, dude, you are young. And we want to see what you can do at first and just see if we can expand that horizon of playing.
I love Alejandro Kirk as much as the next guy. I don't think he's ready. I think he still needs a little bit of
lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, I think he still needs a little bit of fine-tuning in the minor leagues before he's ready for major league pitching. I think he's there by necessity right now because you don't want Reese up there. I don't think Reese is he hasn't been good enough lately. But as of right now, I don't think he's in a spot where I want him in the lineup, which sucks because he was so good in that little stretch he had last year. But I think that was just he got up at the right time and he was hot when he came up. I just don't think he really has it yet. I think he's going to be a successful hitter in the majors. He's just not there yet.
Yeah, I think we knew that, though. I think we kind of all prepared for that. And it's funny how the Jays are still kind of it's not like the sky is falling because things are falling apart. Rowdy's not what Rowdy was going to be, and Kirk is not showing what he was last year. And, you kind of look at this division still, and it's still, 4 teams are 4-5 right now in this division.
Right.
4 out of the 5 teams are 4-5. So you don't need to scramble yet. You can still kind of maneuver. And like you said, Reese is still there, especially at the catching position where you can give Kirk a little bit more time. And not that Reese is going to be anything amazing, but Reese is still okay back there, and he's something that you've already dealt with, right? He's the evil that you know, and he could be a cushion until you kind of get something else figured out, right? I think there are going to be teams that are kind of selling off some players where they thought that they were going to be a lot better, right? And players that you can capitalize on from the catcher's position. It's going to be tough for sure, but I don't think that they're going to finish the season with Danny Jansen and Alejandro Kirk as the catching duo.
Doesn't seem like a good play.
No. So I'm just trying to look here before I throw out a name of who I thought could be.
It's tough. There's not really. I can't think of anything offhand. Anyways, that fourth game got canceled, as we mentioned, and it was probably the greatest thing that happened to the Blue Jays, because as a result of the game getting postponed, Tanner Roark missed a start. And they didn't need to start Roark tonight, so they decided they're going to put Roark in the bullpen because Robbie Ray is back, thank God. Pushes Tanner Roark to the bullpen, where I think he's going to have a better time. I think he's going to succeed a little more. I think we can stop hating on Roark for a bit, because I think he's way more fit to be a long reliever. You're going to have Robbie Ray start tonight. Hopefully Robbie Ray is good Robbie Ray and not bad Robbie Ray, because those two are very different. But that's just it's fantastic, because it just avoids having to DFA Tanner Roark for a little bit, and we can just hang on to him and his $20 million for just a little bit longer until we don't have to worry about him anymore. So it's great. It pushes Ryu back, so he gets his 6 days rest that he loves. He should be sharp as shit tomorrow. So you have 2 days where you get
That's
Robbie
so
Ray and
funny.
Ryu.
That's so funny that your ace just is like, hey,
I like rest.
Yeah, I want 6 days. 5 is not enough for me to pitch all these pitches.
Yeah,
I understand it. If
he'll pitch on 5. He can do it, but he likes 6.
Right.
If you give him the chance at 6.
He likes 6.
Yeah, so funny.
Ooh.
Oh, I love that guy though. Can't blame him. If he wants to keep putting up Cy Young numbers, I don't mind if he takes 6 days off. It's cool. They're fun. I hope this works out. I hope Robbie Ray comes in tonight and is as dominant as he was at times last year. I hope they get to play tonight. I don't know what the rain situation's like. They're in New York, aren't they? Or are they still in?
Yeah, I think so. Hang on, let me double check that I'm here right now.
Either way, I don't have a lot of hope in the rain.
I hope it stays away.
I absolutely hate.
Everyone do your rain dances.
Yeah, I absolutely hate that they're playing in Florida, because Florida sucks for rain, man. They are in Florida again tonight.
Just weather, yeah, I know. I'd like to. Just weather-wise, they're not good. Florida does not have good weather for baseball after spring training. There's a reason why they leave.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate that it's outdoors. It sucks. I think that's it from the Blue Jays. You got anything else from them, or?
No,
it should be fun.
Just living the Blue Jay life. Living the bottom 4 or 5.
I love it.
By the way, the Red Sox are leading 6-3 in the division, so I just want to say I know they played Baltimore a lot, so
Red Sox? Didn't they just get slaughtered by Baltimore the other day?
No, they
won, but then they
two. I thought.
Wow, they are 6.
I don't know.
Right.
They were good.
It's early.
They're danger.
Every other team is 4 and 5 in the division. That's crazy. So that was that.
I know. Isn't that nuts?
Hey, Jays fans, remember 3-4 days ago when we were bitching about how this team couldn't hit? You notice they put up 14 against the Angels? Yeah.
15.
Slumps happen. 15 runs.
15.
14 hits, wasn't
15. It? I don't know.
I think it was 14 hits. Slumps happen.
Don't care. 15 runs.
It's
I'm worried about the 1-5. I'm worried about the 1-5 runs.
All right, 15 runs. You know what? Fine. We'll pump that number.
This is a team that put up one run against Texas. Let's remember that. They put up one against Texas.
More runs in one inning than they did the 3 games prior. It's almost like bad days happen in baseball. And it's almost like a few of them happen in a row. Welcome to baseball, where you're not perfect 7 times out of 10. Good players fail 7 times out of 10. Relax. Enjoy the game. They're going to be good. Have fun. We're going to play some Drip or Drop because it's fun, and I miss it. I want to start with one because we haven't done it yet, I don't think. I don't think we've done this one.
I threw all mine out there. So
right. I don't think we've done this one. You can stop me if we've already done it, and I'm just concussion
Oh
brain.
God, you're
and
gonna
don't
go
remember.
for me for memory? Oh my goodness! All right.
Well, we can just talk about it. It's just kind of like our Yankees-Red Sox debate every week.
Dude, P. Sherman 42 all the way Sydney. I got you.
Have we done the Blue Jays new blue jerseys?
I said that the first one.
We did? It was so long ago.
You
Then I
like
just
them,
want
I
to talk
think?
about the jerseys then because
No, maybe I said the baby blues, the original ones. So if you want to talk about these ones, but I feel like you're still.
I just want to talk about them because I saw someone mention that they're not good jerseys. To that, sir, you deserve a kick in the teeth. Because I don't know if you saw Gary Trent Jr. rocking his on the home opener, but that guy looks stylish. Look phenomenal. It's a good look.
Can I say kudos to him for buying all in and just deciding I'm going to be the best player I can be?
Tampa-Ronto. We're glad to have you here. I'm excited for that kid.
We're the Tampa-Ronto Raptors.
I'm hopping on the Gary Trent bandwagon because that kid's cool. His hair needs a little bit of work. I'm not a fan of the dreads with the 4 bang look. It's kind of interesting.
You know what I'm a fan of? I'm a fan of 44. So I'll take that.
I'm a fan of him hitting fucking threes all day long because he's great.
Love it.
Hey,
he's a sniper.
If that's the haircut you need to drill shots like that, by all means.
It actually, like when you go down a scope and you have like this little, it's what his is,
He puts it in between the 2 middle dreads.
Exactly.
It seems to work. Good for him, dude.
It's like on the golf ball, the line. If I feel like I can hit that line, he's
perfect.
He's the same way. Awesome.
Anyways,
okay, so sticking on the Raptors then.
Go.
For what? I've lost track of what our question was.
Drip or drop me. Go.
The Raptors. Did you watch the game last night?
Yeah, I hate them. I know.
Okay, do you hate those?
Those jerseys? I hate them.
They have a purple.
I love the front. I love the purple with the black arrow or whatever. Black with the purple arrow, whatever it was.
It's kind of got like a little it's from here.
I love that look. Why is your black all back or back all black? Holy dyslexia. Why is your back all black? It looks so stupid.
VC era. The VC era, that's what it was.
Bad. I hate that. They did such a good job with that front bit, and it's like that looks sweet. Do the back all purple. That would have been so much better. Why is it all?
It was way better. Yeah, I know it looks rough.
It's silly looking.
All right, go ahead.
I don't have any other ones. That's the only one I have.
That was it. You just went for the.
I totally forgot about this bit. Every single week, I'm like, yeah.
Okay, so then have you seen the Braves blue jerseys that they've been rocking a little bit the past couple of days?
I do have one after this. I have not though.
So if you look them up, I think there was like the last couple games against the Phillies. They look pretty. I'm gonna drip them.
Okay.
They look really dynamite, especially when Acuna Jr. gets up there.
Are they like baby blue jerseys or?
Yeah, they're.
Are they
they got
ones?
some white on them too?
Oh, I don't know what you're looking at here. Is it the one with the?
Oh my goodness. Now you got me confused.
When did they play?
I thought you were watching all sorts of baseball here.
I have not been keeping it the last 2 days, and apparently this is when the Braves have been wearing them.
Yeah, they wore these like real.
Oh, those ones. Oh, I do like those.
Yeah,
the white with the blue sleeves.
Those
are really nice. I do like those jerseys. I'm here.
Yeah.
Looks nice in the front. The hat's sick. The hat's got the A that I was talking about.
The hat's got it. Yeah. That here's a picture of Dan's just all upset. Oh wait, where is it here? How do I do this?
Down. Oh, okay, yeah. No, that's a good. I like those ones.
Yeah.
Those are great. I had one earlier in the week, and then I remembered it now. The Boston Red Sox blue and yellow look they got coming in. Have you seen it?
It's not the Red Sox.
No, it's so weird for the Red Sox. Now, it makes sense for the city. And as a jersey as a whole, I don't hate it.
It doesn't make sense for the Red Sox, though.
No, it's just weird for the Red Sox.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Alex Verdugo's taken a lot of liberties with the gold there, too. Since he's been there, he's really stretched that gold. I don't know.
I won one time.
Okay. I think it's going to be dropped. Yeah.
I think as the Red Sox, I drop it. But as just a jersey as a whole, I like it. It's pretty nice.
Do you?
It's a nice jersey.
I drop it because you're the Boston Red Sox.
Sure. If I'm the Red Sox, I drop it. But if I'm just a baseball team called the Boston Bostons, I probably
the Boston Creams.
It's all right. We'll go with the Boston Creams, and it makes sense for them because it makes sense for the city. It just doesn't make sense for the Red Sox.
Okay.
What else you got?
Okay. Did you watch the Sunday Masters?
I did.
Okay, so we can start with Matsuyama's little yellow,
simple Masters
tinge to it.
Kind of look.
Yeah.
I liked it.
A lot of white. Shoffley even as well. He had a little white to his. I liked his better.
Yeah.
I liked his better. Even Will Zalatoris. Did you like the pink?
It's a look.
You're a fan of the pink, okay?
It's a look.
I didn't really like Spieth's. Spieth's
Under
shirt
Armour
wasn't
blue. Like
it was vintage Spieth. Don't get me wrong.
How
but
many guys do you know that rock Under Armour as a sponsor on the golf course? It seems like he's the
not too
guy.
many of
Like
them.
he's
one of their poster boys for
he's
sure.
taking golf athlete to a whole new level. Like
Mhm.
he's like, I am an athlete.
Well, they're really like, I feel like TaylorMade and Titleist take over a lot of the front, like the hats and stuff like that. The shirts are a lot of Adidas.
Mhm.
I seem to notice. I love the Adidas
They're
golf
comfy as
stuff.
shit.
Yeah.
Not a
Oh
big
my
Adidas
goodness, the
fan,
pants as well.
Their golf stuff
Yeah.
is great.
Their golf stuff is dynamite. When they decided to separate from TaylorMade and just went for it themselves,
It's
it was
great.
the best decision. Yeah.
Their pants are so comfy. It's like track pants, but they look nice. It's cool.
Oh, and they're so breathable. You can play in any weather.
Yeah, like middle of the
it's
summer
awesome.
I wear them, middle of the fall, like it does not matter. You're comfortable in all the weathers. It's crazy.
Yes, I'm trying to think. Even did you ever see Tony Finau's outfit?
On the
I think
last
he had
day
a bit
there,
of
yeah, he looked
a
all right.
neon tinge.
He
Yeah,
had
you all right
the
with it?
grossest shot from the trees that hit the lip of the bunker and hopped up and rolled back for about 100 yards, it seemed like.
He almost made it in.
Crazy.
And you see how casual it just goes.
He's like, yeah, thumbs up. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah. I'm nowhere near where I thought I'd be.
No.
Okay. Marchand. I know you hate him.
I didn't see it. I know.
You didn't see it?
I heard it was gross. It was a shorthanded goal, right?
It was a short-handed goal, and he basically comes in on the left wing, I believe, because it's a left-handed shot.
Right.
The defenseman decides that he is going to slide backwards towards the net. He pulls it, toe drags it, and then pulls it to his backhand and decides, hey, how are you? I'm going upstairs.
So he's good. I'll just say this. Brad Marchand as a whole, I'm here. I don't hate Brad Marchand the way other people hate Brad Marchand.
But the goal. Did you like the goal?
I'll just assume the way you described it, I think it was great. And the fact that I've heard it from multiple people now, I'll just assume it was a great goal. And Brad Marchand as a whole, you know what? I don't hate Brad Marchand. I'm going to get some hate for saying it. But as a Leaf fan, you're supposed to hate Brad Marchand. I kind of like Brad Marchand. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if that offends any Leafs or Canadians fans or anyone else that hates the Bruins or doesn't like him licking faces.
I think he falls into that underrated category because he gets, a lot of the...
He is what everybody thinks Matt Tkachuk is. Like, he's, like, annoying and nobody wants to play against him, but he puts up 100 points. Matt Tkachuk can't do that.
He leads the top line. He's fucking unbelievable. Patrice Bergeron hasn't aged because he's been beside Brad Marchand and Pasta or even just Marchand. As soon as he gets beside him, that's it, right?
You can't find any sane human being that doesn't put Brad Marchand in the top 15 players in the NHL. The guy's great. He's annoying. I hate playing against him. I hate watching the Leafs play against Brad Marchand. But I love Brad Marchand as a player. He's just annoying as hell. I'm here for him. Sorry.
I like it. WrestleMania.
I didn't watch. Was it a 2-day event?
Why? They make it a 2-day event now.
2-day.
There's one night and then there's the other night.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here for that. 2 days of WrestleMania. I don't want to pay for it because that's I'm not into wrestling the way I was when I was a kid. But if I was,
man, we still talk about it in the group chats. Like it still buzzes around.
Could you imagine
the
the Super Bowl being a multi-day event? Like you do, let's say you do a 3-day 2 out of 3 series for the Super Bowl. I'd be so here. For that.
No, let's say you do the Saturday is the semis and the Sunday is the finals. That's it. You have the 4 teams come in on the Saturday, you play your game, and then you come in Sunday. Dude, as a Frisbee player, you know what it is? You know what our tournaments are? You know what Nationals is? Nationals is pool play for Thursday, Friday. You get seeded, and then Saturday is all your champions, your quarters, final. Exactly. And then you go in, you play 4 days, and I think that's exactly similar to what it should be with.
I don't know who decided that football can only be played once a week, but I don't like it. I think it should
scheduling thing, maybe. Maybe they just didn't have enough days other than one day.
They just don't want days off. It's like, oh, we got hit so many times. Yeah, so does half the other sports. Why they can play it like every other day? Why can't you play once every 3 days?
Realistically, I think we did the math. It's about 21 weeks out of the year or something to that degree. So not even half. Or over half, just over half. But no, not even half. Not even half.
It's 17 weeks of regular season.
Right. but I'm sorry, preseason as well.
Yeah. So it's
Super Bowl, Pro Bowl, whatever it is.
If you make it to the Super Bowl, that's an extra 4 weeks, 5 weeks, because you get that extra week in between. So there's 22 weeks plus 3 weeks of preseason is 25. So let's just go high and we'll say 27 weeks. So 27 weeks of the year, that's it. Baseball gets like 3 months off. That's it. Like, what are we talking about here? I don't know, man.
And NFL is one of the highest grossing because it's so packed. It's so jam-packed in there that everyone just rushes to it.
Well, because there's only one game a week. You got to go.
Mm-hmm.
You can't not go. Like, if you miss...
There's not going to be another opportunity.
You only have 8 chances to go see your team play because they play 8 home games. Unless you're going to travel, you have 8 games to go to. And they cost you an arm and a leg. Unless you're in Buffalo. Great.
Yeah, Buffalo's cheap. But, okay, this will be the last one because we never really discussed them because, we're a Toronto market. We talk about what's hot. They're not hot.
No.
They might not even make the playoff play-in. So that's my question. Drop or drop, the Raptors missing the play-in tournament. They will not even get in. They're going to miss it.
Now.
They're going to get beat out.
2 ways.
By a Washington.
The Toronto Raptors have been a playoff team for a long time, and they're an entertaining playoff team. So it would kind of suck to see them miss. However, they're not good enough to do damage. They're not good enough.
This is the play-in game.
Yeah,
They have lost to Detroit how many times?
Yeah, they're not good enough. Well, so is every good team in the league, which is insane. They're not good enough to do damage in the playoffs. So as such, I don't think it makes sense to make the play-in tournament. So I think I'm here for dripping the missing of the playoff tournament. Or the play-in tournament, whatever you want to call it. Because then, at that rate, we just put ourselves in the lottery. And we get a chance at Cade Cunningham.
Wow.
Hey, we have a championship.
Wow.
We have a championship.
Wow.
You don't need another one.
You're such a Toronto fan.
We don't need another one. We got one.
We have a championship.
We're still celebrating We're still celebrating that thing.
We still have a hangover.
Who cares?
Talk to me about Kawhi. I'll tell you we won it 2 years ago. We're not even the reigning champs anymore.
I think
doesn't matter.
With Malachi Flynn, Gary Trent, and OG, maybe Fred, and whoever you pick up in free agency, and then whoever you get at the top of this draft, you have a better looking future if you miss this play-in tournament. Because if you make the play-in tournament and you find a way to win just to get booted in the first round by Brooklyn, why do I want that? I don't want that. I want to miss. I don't want my heart broken. I don't need the excitement of a one-game playoff where you win and you're like, yay, and then you just lose. Fuck that. We're going to miss. We're going to get the top pick. Be good again next year. Raptors. Miss,
all right, GM.
be good again.
Thank you.
And then we're going to lose Masai. So.
And lose Lowry.
I don't think so. I think they re-sign him. I just like he likes it here too much. I don't think you.
We'll teaser that next week.
Sure.
Kyle Lowry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Should I stay or should I go now?
I think that's it. Thanks for listening. As always, we appreciate you. Don't forget to follow us at the BnB pod _ on Instagram and Twitter, and at the BnB podcast on TikTok. More content and merch. We have cool merch. All that linked in the description below at theasports.com. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit comment. Tell us all your takes. We'll talk. Comment on all of our stuff because we like to discuss things, and we're always on there, and I'm always bored. So you might as well comment. I'll talk back. We'll have some conversations. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you at the end of this week sometime, I think, right? Is it Monday today? Yeah. We'll catch you sometime at the end of this week. Enjoy the Leafs game tonight. Enjoy the Jays game. Hopefully they've already won by the time.
Enjoy the Toronto sports games.
Enjoy. Things are fun right now. Let's just continue.
Happy trade deadline day, everyone.
Yeah. Have a good one.